percentage at 62%, and he's also chairman of the boards in the Big East rebounding department thus far. Another dancing bear with a big body, quick feet. He also leads the team in steals and in blocks.
Well, the setting is really good here at the rack. The joint is jumping, and that's just what Gary Waters wants.
I want to make the rack the most difficult place to play in the world. That's my goal.
The final days and
there's a good look at our series history of this Georgetown and Rutgers matchup. Georgetown won both games last year by 3 here at Rutgers, and they won 74-58 down at the MCI Center. And Georgetown leads in both categories all-time and in conference play. Here we go. Mike Sherrod going to bring it up for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He's a sophomore guard out of Brooklyn, New York, went to Robeson High School.
And Georgetown opens up in a man-to-man. The key for Rutgers is to get the crowd into it early.
And just that quick, Braswell gets a steal for Georgetown.
And for Georgetown, the last 3 losses against ranked teams, too often they started out behind, slow starting on offense, and really had to play catch-up throughout the game. Craig Esherick would love to see 40 minutes of basketball from his team.
Tony Bethel gets him off to a good start. The 6'2 freshman guard out of Montrose Christian, Fort Washington, Maryland. Shooting 36% change from three-point line. Eugene Dabney way outside.
And Dave, we talked about Gary Waters' system, and that system is a transition system, run, press, get a lot of offense off of your defense, but Georgetown wants to keep them in a half-court ball game where the inexperience of the first-year players will show.
How about Bethel on the attack, and he's fouled by Rashad Kent. And from a Georgetown point of view, that's really good to get Kent in foul trouble. Your starting lineup, Sweetney, Riley, Wilson, who's been a little bit inconsistent. Bethel, a young man who has really shown that he's got the stripes to play at this big-time level. Kent, Shields, Dabney, Coleman, and Sherrod. Coleman coming off of 2 outstanding performances, 25 at Syracuse the other night on 7 of 11 shooting from three-point range.
Well, I tell you, the key for Georgetown also has to be contribution from Wesley Wilson. During those 3 losses, he averaged only 4 points and 2 rebounds. This is a guy that they sorely need on both ends of the floor. He's got the talent. It's just a mental thing with him. He's got to shake it loose.
That last foul was on Shields, his first. Braswell real good on the defensive end, and he could pick your pocket. Knocked away by Riley, another outstanding performer on the defensive side of the ball. Gerald Riley, a 6'6 sophomore out of Milledgeville, Georgia. Craig Esherick in his 4th season taking over for the Hall of Famer John Thompson. Got him to the Sweet 16 last season. Surprised a few people. Here's a deep shot from the corner. Back rim, kept alive. Rutgers comes up with it, losing to Sweetney. Riley ends up with the loose ball, and they're going to get a travel call. Jim Burr working with Tom Lopes and Alandis Poole, our officials this evening. 50-year-old Gary Waters, a Detroit native, spent his entire coaching career out in the Midwest, now on the East Coast, and said the one thing that he noticed night in, night out in the Big East, there's no nights off. You got to rock and roll.
Well, you learn that obviously after a couple of games here, but I'll tell you what, you say 50 years old, Gary, looking pretty good.
He looks good. He looks real good, 50 years old. Keeps himself in good shape.
No gray hairs yet.
That's right. Dabney stepping outside and hitting. Eugene Dabney, the 6'10 redshirt junior. He's from out of Fort Union Military in Birmingham, Alabama, Woodlawn High School.
Well, if the big fella can hit from there consistently, that'll wash the grays right out of your hair.
Sure. QT just under 8 a game. Big matchup here. Sweetney against Kent. Sweetney drew a hacking foul from Kent. That indeed this time, foul is on Rashad Kent.
Well, Rashad Kent, the best defender down low. He leads the team in steals and blocks, and he's got a tough assignment right here. The problem was reaching. Did a great job using his body taking position, but he reached, and that's what gets him in foul trouble, those silly fouls.
Kevin Braswell shooting at 39% from deep. Off to a really good start. 46% overall, 15 points a game. Ricky Shields get it down into Kent. Going against Wilson. Went in, got fouled. That is his game. Rashad Kent, they list him at 275, and I think it's legit this year. He looks fantastic.
Well, we talked about Rashad Kent being the all-time field goal percentage shooter for Rutgers, and you see why. Using that body nicely on the baseline. And I'll tell you what, Rashad Kent loves to see Georgetown coming.
Oh, doesn't he? His numbers are phenomenal.
He's got a tremendous field goal percentage against them.
24 of his last 33 coming into tonight's game. And that included, matter of fact, that just made it 8 shots in a row he's made against Georgetown. And Braswell called for the player control foul.
Well, again, we talked about Rashad Kent on the offensive end. Defensively, the senior recognized the play, recognized Braswell out of control, and he takes up the position. Here's Braswell from the floor angle. Nice job there of Kent just stepping up, taking the room.
Another foul on Georgetown. And it's on Riley. So Riley picks up his first, team third.
Georgetown applying some full court pressure right now. You have to test the first-year players of Rutgers. They've got some guys who really haven't experienced that type of pressure.
Yeah.
Against Syracuse, they had difficulty in the half court on that 2-3 zone, trying to figure out the seams and ways to score against it.
Mike Sherrod, fadeaway's good. Nothing but net for the sophomore from Brooklyn, New York. Another Robeson High product.
There's a solution. Just beat your man and raise up.
Little pump fake and let it rip. Riley going inside, met a roadblock. Dabney thought he had the block, but they're going to get him for the foul. Eugene picks up his first.
Well, I like what Rutgers is doing right now defensively. They are cutting off the driving lanes, and they're picking them up early. The problem is, as we said about Kent, and now with Dabney, is the reach. Big guys, if you take up the position, if you stop the penetration, you've done your job on that play. You don't have to reach.
Tony Bethel takes a seat. Our first look at Drew Hall, 6'2" freshman guard, Silver Spring, Maryland. Averaging 5 points a game, about 22 minutes a game. Braswell steps in and then backs it out. Takes it in with the right hand flip and gets the roll. The lefty goes the other hand and scores, and it's 7-6 Georgetown. 4 points for Braswell. With the ball is Mike Sherrod, veteran here, sophomore. Coleman, transferred and junior college All-American. Cecil Community College in Maryland. And a rebound taken out by Drew Hall. A lot of pressure defense by Rutgers. Make you earn it. Sweetney, nice hands. Goes reverse and scores. Nice catch.
Well, we talked about the soft hands of Mike Sweetney as well as his quick feet. Nice delivery. That time off the penetration. And if you're going to press outside, you got to be careful that Braswell doesn't get behind you. He creates havoc.
That one influenced by Riley. Wilson, beg your pardon. And then Braswell beats the defense and goes in unmolested. Timeout Rutgers. And last thing Gary Waters wants to see is defensive breakdowns. It makes him nuts. 11-6 Georgetown over Rutgers here. Our first time out of the evening.
And here's the difficulty when you pressure and Braswell gets past you. Now he's in the guts of your defense and people are forced to pick him up, and he'll find some folks. And again, if you don't get up and stop the ball right there on the gamble, he'll make you pay.
Kevin Braswell is a guy that Georgetown likes having the ball in his hands late in the game, and look at that. They're all-time steals leader with 308.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're Craig Esherick, you're much relieved in this particular game. As I mentioned before, in the last 3, his teams have gotten off to horrible starts. Right now, they're playing defense the way they should. They're running a transition the way they should. Should build some confidence.
Now, Craig said, beginning of the games concern me. So I can't put a finger on it. We got to get something going. They played against Virginia, UCLA, and Miami. Come away with losses despite frantic finishes in this game, in those particular games. Georgetown on a 6-0 run over the last minute. Dabney inside, a little short, knocked free by Dabney, and Sweetney regains.
Officials letting them play. Dabney used the shoulder to make a little room.
Let him play there.
Sweetney used the shoulder to make a little room as well.
Wilson got undercut. They said no foul. Sherrod got it.
Oh, that was just great decision making by Mike Sherrod. Recognized that he had an open shot even though they didn't have numbers to run the break. And when you have a shot that wide open, you got to bury it, make the other guy respect you.
Sherrod with 4 points and now playing some defense against Kevin Braswell. Sweetney up top. He can range out to about 15 feet. Wesley Wilson down low. Dabney knocked it free. Wilson backs in, turns, can't get it. Kept it alive. Rebound, Kent. Glad you could join us here at the rack in Piscataway, New Jersey. 11-8 Georgetown on top of Rutgers early on here. Ooh, boy, that was sent back. And from the corner is Jerome Coleman. That's a deuce. So now it's a 1-point Georgetown lead.
It's all about opportunism. That's probably part of Gary Waters' system as well, to have guys confident enough to make their breaks.
Braswell up top, Riley. Riley leaves for Sweetney. Top of the key jumper. Wow. Boy, that was pure, wasn't it?
Doesn't matter where he is on the floor. This young man puts it down from just about anywhere. And again, has a nice presence on the floor, under control, even keel demeanor. That's how you get it done on a consistent basis.
No doubt about it. 7th in Big East scoring already. Tough shot, Coleman. Rebound, Sweetney. Again, the soft hands. Once he gets it, forget it. Nice pass. Hall, can he complete? He does. Back the other way. Georgetown up by 5 here against Rutgers.
Rutgers getting a little bit of its own medicine right now. Georgetown running a transition game to perfection. Look at this move.
Nice step under. That was beautiful. Boy, Pete Newell would be proud, wouldn't he?
Well, I tell you what, head and shoulders. That's what it's about down low. Rashad Kent worked it to perfection. Head and shoulders past his man.
4 points for Kent. Riley up top. Down to Sweetney. Little flop maybe by Kent. He's looking for a call. Gets none, and Sweetney puts one in his face.
All right, here's where the senior has to recognize how the game is being called. He hasn't gotten any of those calls. Stay on your feet. Put your hands up. Be an obstacle.
Braswell hawking against Mike Sherrod. Dabney up top. Kent wants it back against Wilson this time. And a lot of deft moves. Count it! Oh, baby! Oh! Rashad Kent, a big continuation.
That's nothing but upper body strength right there. Rashad Kent receives nicely in the paint. Takes his time, locates the defense. Now look at his strength on the shoulders. Takes the hit, still squares up enough to score.
Foul is on Wilson, his second. Cortland Freeman into the Georgetown lineup. 6'9" junior forward. Victor Samnick joins the Georgetown 5 on the floor. 6'8" junior forward. And Rashad Kent with a three-point play. Notorious at the free throw line, just 38%. But they're on their feet here at the rack. Rutgers is close to within 2 at the first time out. Things heating up here at the rack. 23rd ranked Georgetown, a 2-point lead on Rutgers, which has done a real good job getting back into this game. Dave Sims and Len Elmore. And to this point, Rashad Kent, pretty impressive. That upper body strength and very determined down in the low box area.
Well, absolutely. And what Rutgers has to do is get Kent a lot of touches. We talk about his high field goal percentage. He's a guy that creates a lot of problems down low for Georgetown. Forces people like Mike Sweetney and Wesley Wilson to have to work. Now remember, in the blowout up at Syracuse, Kent only got 2 shots from the field.
That's not going to get it done.
No, it's not. So now you got to go to him again early and often. Make sure he's a force. Plus, again, the potential of foul trouble with Rashad Kent. You got to get as much out of him as early as you can.
Braswell, they beat the press. Sean Exante's in the game right now for Rutgers, number 32. Also in the game, Herve Lamizana. His first appearance, a 6'10" sophomore forward. He's out of the Ivory Coast in Africa. Down low, Kent steals.
And that's how Kent leads this team in steals. Excellent positioning. 3/4 his man. Has his hands active down low in the passing lane.
Georgetown shooting 8 of 11 from the field. Rutgers 7 of 14. They get it to Kent, double team him. Freeman knocked it out off of Rashad Kent. He can't believe it. Get another timeout on the floor. Still a 2-point lead for the Rutgers for the Georgetown Hoyas.
And with Georgetown leading by 2, we're witnessing, Dave Sims, a battle of the Titans inside. You take a look right here. Nice defensive job, but kicking it back outside to Sweetney. Here's Kent with some fundamentally sound crossover play in the paint. Here on the flop, Kent doesn't get it. Sweetney doesn't care. And again, a nice job using that upper body strength with Rashad Kent. Physical play, smart play, and just downright determination. The officials are letting these guys go after it, and it's been entertaining.
Yes, indeed. The home office down in the paint for Sweetney at Kent. Press now from Rutgers. Sweetney. Boy, when you get a 6'8" guy who can catch it, get in the post, get a layup, blow the layup. How about that? Oh, Oh, man, had an absolute chippy there.
He's so used to having contact when there
That's right.
was none. He really didn't brace himself to lay the ball in.
Tough shot inside by Shields. And Victor Sebnik comes away for Georgetown. Bethel's back in the game. Braswell, Samnick, Sweetney, and Cortland Freeman on the floor for the Hoyas. Sweetney. Oh, boy, he got sent back that time. Kent gambled and lost, but his people were there. They had his back.
But you know what? If you know that you got weak side help, you can take a gamble now and then if you're Rashad Kent. Nice job by Lamizana to come over.
I think he and Xanny take some credit for that one. Xanny had the left hand down, and Jimmy Burke caught him. And that'll be the first foul on Sean.
We'll take a look at one. Herve Lamizana come across. Nice job by Xanny to slow Sweetney, force him to kind of shade a little bit to his left. And Lamizana does a nice job on the help side. When you're going to gamble, when your underside's in the paint like Rashad Kemp, you have to rely on your weak side help.
Ninth block of the season for Herve and Lamizana. Cortland Freeman, junior out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hey, coming up, Sunday night NFL. Eagles and the Buccaneers down at Tampa. Eagles wrapped up their first NFC East championship in 13 years. Thrilling win over the Giants last weekend. The Bucs, they're headed toward the playoffs with a couple of pelts. The last two Super Bowl champs, they've knocked off the Rams and the Ravens. How about that? Coverage begins with NFL Primetime presented by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern Time. 3-point Georgetown lead as we approach the 11-minute mark here in the first half.
And it's been a pretty good job by both teams defensively in taking away most of the transition opportunities. Georgetown got away from Rutgers a couple of times, but overall it's been the pressure that slowed the attack down, and neither one of them seem really comfortable unless they're going inside.
Joel Wiggin drew the foul on Tony Bethel. For Bethel, his first, team foul number 5 for Georgetown. Joel Wiggin, a 6'3" freshman from Columbus High School in the Bronx, New York. Lamizana had that one partially blocked by Samnick. Hall quickly ahead to Riley. Pops from there, got it.
That's what I mean. In transition, you've got to get to the shooters. Make them put it on the floor so your help has time to get back.
Georgetown by 5. Ricky Shields down to Kent. Guarded by Samnick.
Georgetown in a 2-1-2 zone right now. Occasionally it looks like a 2-3. That's the type of zone that gave Rutgers a lot of trouble up at Syracuse.
Shields under duress, doesn't go. Tip is good by Kent.
But therein lies the solution against the zone. You put a shot up, it's easy to offensive rebound if you're determined.
Riley determined on the baseline. Can't get it. Lamizana comes away with the loose ball. 3-ball would tie it here for Rutgers.
And now Georgetown in kind of a 1-3-1, so they've been changing up a little bit. Again, trying to confuse some of the first-year backcourt players.
Wiggin that time was a little bit out of control and stepped on the baseline, turns it over. Harvey Thomas into the Georgetown lineup. He's wearing number 15, a freshman from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And big Kareem Wright, 6'9", 285. With the black sneakers, the black socks. Pretty imposing look out there for Kareem. Both teams with 3 turnovers.
Good move by Gary Waters to get Rashad Kent out of there as he tires a little bit. Have him back there fresh for the last 6 or 8 minutes.
A little traveling music for Harvey Thomas. Plays about 14 minutes a game. 4 points, 3 rebounds. Pressure by the Hoyas. Sherrod's going to bring it up against Drew Hall.
And as they say in the Rutgers media guide, Sherrod ultra quick. So you see he's getting a lot of room right now.
12th in assists in the Big East. Xanny, the left-hander, just inside the 3-point line. Put back, tried by Coleman, won't go, and a foul in the play. Greg Escher came out onto the floor trying to prevent any further damage. Coleman called for the foul.
When you take a look at the shot, Coleman makes a mistake of not bringing the ball down, trying to tip it back in. And there you
that's
see
what-
the altercation right there. Ever so slight.
That's what Craig Esherick saw. Good for him that he was ready to jump in there. Didn't want to see him do a Jeff Van Gundy, though.
Well, Craig's a lawyer. He was out there to mediate.
That's right. 3-point Georgetown lead. Riley's already hit from there. Goes baseline, leaves for Freeman. Steps up, goes glass for the deuce.
Nice looking jump shot by Cortland Freeman. You know, he's a good utility guy. Comes in, gives you some points. He rebounds, plays good defense. Had 10 rebounds versus Miami in Georgetown's last game.
How about Miami? Unbeaten. They're playing Connecticut. We'll update you on that score a little bit later.
And I tell you what, Perry Clark has got a team right now, and he knew it all along. Experienced, determined, and these guys are very confident. They expect to win even the road games.
Tony Bethel with the steal led to the Drew Hall layup. Hall very much under control. He's got 5 points as he went to the basket, extending the Georgetown lead to 7. Rutgers calls a 30-second timeout. Got some terrific women's basketball coming at you tomorrow on ESPN2, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. UNLV versus New Mexico, a Mountain West showdown from the pit. Vegas is 11-1. The Lady Lobos are 11-3. Then at 5 Eastern, it's number 9 Purdue against Iowa. And Purdue's trying to build on a tradition featuring 3 straight Final Four appearances. ESPN is your exclusive home for the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship.
Well, Dave, I can tell you right now what's happening to the Rutgers offense, particularly without Rashad Kent on the floor. A lot of quick shots, which have led to Georgetown transition baskets. Certainly some bad decisions. And there, on one of the turnovers, nice quick outlet. Georgetown gets what they want. So Rutgers has to be under better control. They've got to find maybe an interior force just to keep the Georgetown defense honest and maybe get some better shots.
Sherrod and Coleman in the backcourt. Jason McCoy makes his first appearance, 6'9", 195, a freshman forward from Houston, number 21 for Rutgers. Here he is. And he is long and lean.
I think the decision-making problems have as much to do with the zone as anything else.
Coleman way over the top for 3. My goodness.
And that ball slapped that net.
Sure did.
That's how sweet that ball went through. 5
points for Coleman. Down low, Kareem Wright. A little bit too aggressive on Sweetney. Kareem picks up his first.
Again,
team foul number 6 for Rutgers.
Again, it's all about position down low. You can't reach.
The Scarlet Knights 6 team foul.
Take a timeout with 7:47 to go. Georgetown leading at Rutgers. Coleman, though, playing his part nicely here. Very much. Justin Brown getting pretty excited up at Stores at Gamble. Here at our game, it's Georgetown leading 24-20 at the 7:47 mark. Big game here in the Big East Conference. It's the home conference opener for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights under their new coach, Gary Waters. We're at the rack. Dave Sims, Len Elmore with you. Georgetown shooting an outstanding 65%. Rutgers has got 4 more shot opportunities, but shooting a lower percentage, and Braswell can't get it inbounds, and Jim Burr gives them the timeout.
Georgetown calls a 30-second timeout.
PGA Mercedes Championship final round coverage here on ESPN at 4:30 tomorrow from Kapalua. Mike Weir took off with a first round 63, but it's David Thompson, Kenny Perry leading coming into third round action at 11 under. Offers can deal with it. It's Craig Esherick. His team off to a much better start. Here's Sweetney in traffic, headed sent away. And let's see. Thought it was partially blocked. They're saying he shot it over the back.
Well, that's what Craig Esherick is motioning that it was tipped. He says, my guy doesn't shoot the ball over the backboard.
I think he makes a pretty good point. Rutgers has 16 fouls, Georgetown 5.
Rashad Kent back on the floor again to give them some stability, particularly on the offensive end. Certainly he's got to be careful not to make silly fouls on the defensive end.
Kent 4 for 4, so that gives him 11 straight field goals against Georgetown. 7 games now we're talking. Kareem right up top. I think that surprised not only me, but everybody else.
But I tell you what, the shot had good rotation.
It did.
Was right on line, just a bit short. And when you left that wide open, you got to take it.
Sweetney If he can take the body blows, he'll be fine because he is getting pounded tonight. I can't anchor him right. And the officials are letting them play.
Well, Dave, you talk about can he take the body blows? He's built for contact. Look at those shoulders right there. He knows he's going to get hit, and he's got the type of game where he doesn't care.
Guy you played against, Moses Malone, wasn't he? He was the thing I always remember watching him and people saying, don't let him feel where you are.
Yeah, I tell you, Moses, his game was in transition. As a younger player, he was just a slasher. He'd sneak between the big guys, get offensive rebounds because he was so thin. But as he got older and he bulked up, he was a man underneath. He would take up space. He'd bump you, carry you on his back, and still put the ball in the basket.
8 points for Sweetney. 6-point lead, under 7 to play first half here at Rutgers. They go down to Kent. 3 players come to get him. And he draws a foul. And they're going to get Cortland Freeman.
And that's what I mean by offensive stability, and that's what Rashad Kent brings to Rutgers. He is a guy that you can rely upon going down in the post to make the right decision. Look at the patience right there. Recognizes the defense, makes the move to the baseline where there is no help, and draws the foul. Rutgers needs someone like that because of the inexperience or relative inexperience of the players on the floor. They need someone that they can go to, rely on, and then get to spots.
The only chink in his armor, 38% at the free throw line for this season. 26th nationally in rebounding last season.
And that's the problem, as you say, with his game. I mean, that's the situation. His free throw shooting is so bad, you don't know if you can keep him on the floor in a tight game situation down the stretch. He's an instant turnover.
That puts a big piece of doubt in the mind of your head coach.
The guy's just too important not to be on the floor.
That's right.
And it's all hard work, and they've worked with him and worked with him. Gary Waters says that he'd love to be able to get him to 50% by the end of the season. You know, that's a reachable goal.
Terrific pressure applied by Kent. And he had help from Joel Wiggin. Forces Hall to call a timeout.
Georgetown calls a 30-second timeout.
Georgetown has to call a 30-second timeout. Unlike the old days, Georgetown bulked up their schedule this year.
Well, they certainly did, and you look at those last 3. I mean, all of them are formidable, but the last 3 are all ranked teams. Virginia lost today, but UCLA, Miami, they're on a roll right now. Those are some hot teams. I doubt if there are very many people in the country that can beat them. And you look at the rebound margin, that's been the key. You expect Georgetown to be the dominant team on the glass, but this is not like your father's Georgetown, not even like your brother-in-law's Georgetown team. You know, these guys are probably less aggressive on the backboard than any Georgetown team that I've seen.
Hard to believe, isn't it? Sherrod takes over.
But they're shooting better.
Yeah, which is, they've been asking for that for a while. 4-on-3, Braswell. And it's sent back. Sweetney got it. Goes strong to the glass. Wow.
Making room, Mike Sweetney. Unstoppable.
Mike Sweetney, 28-21, Georgetown. He's got 10. Boy, that was a power play if I ever saw one. We're not talking man advantage here. Braswell, check that Hall with the easy steal. Another breakout. Sweetney, the trail guy. Oh, baby, can you believe that? Got the English to make it go, and a 3-point opportunity looming.
Well, you talked about it and said it, power, and it's power with a capital P in Mike Sweetney.
Scarlet Knights 8th team foul.
We talked about him inside on the block, but here on the break, you know, I like to call guys like Sweetney and Kent dancing bears. You look at their bodies, but you recognize the agility.
Ricky Shields.
And here, on the last play, he gets the rebound. Look at him go through both guys, initiate the contact, and still have the squared-up presence to make the shot.
Misses the free throw, but he's got 12 points on the day, 6 rebounds. Real primer there for big people in terms of how to use that body if you got a big one.
Well, you take the officials allowing people to play. You take what's given you. You learn to make the adjustment, and as a sophomore, he's done a great job.
9-point lead for Georgetown. Kent trying to return the favor and got hacked. It's like Jimmy Bird got Sweetney, and he did. Got to love these face-to-face confrontations.
Well, it's the old irresistible forces versus immovable objects. Something's got to give. And on both ends, both Kent and Sweetney, no back down in either of them.
Boy, mirror image. I mean, they both have, from about 3-4 dribbles out, maybe 10 feet in. They're murder putting it on the floor to up fake you.
Fundamentally sound. And I said, as we continue to watch them, watch their footwork. It's the footwork that's getting them in a position to take the contact as well as put the ball up to the basket and have an opportunity for it to go in. It's just very impressive.
Kent 2 for 5 at the line, 10 points. And that worked out real well for Georgetown. Braswell put it up with the right hand, had partially blocked. Lamizana got it. Lamizana influenced that one. Sweetney goes up. They'll keep it right here.
And Sweetney is looking for some kind of call. I mean, he says, look, how many times do I have to take this pounding? There's the block. Now watch him go back up. That may have been a good block right there, but Lamizana looked like he was on the back.
Victor Riley.
Gerald Riley,
beg your pardon, with 4 points now, extends that lead to 32-21. Biggest lead of the evening for Georgetown. Up top is Shields.
We sit here and we marvel at Rashad Kent, his ability to get into the paint and draw fouls, but he's had some opportunities to make some free throws, but he hasn't really done it consistently, and hence they're down 11 points. So going inside to him, unless he makes it, hasn't really been a benefit.
Lamizana turned it over, and that opened up the opportunity for Gerald Riley to bang down another one. 34-21, 6 points for Riley. Rutgers calls a timeout. And again, Gary Waters not getting the defensive performance that he wants.
Well, we talked about it earlier in this half about getting to the shooters. And right there on the penetration by Braswell, nobody covering. Kent came over as well as a teammate to cover the penetrator. Only need one. You got to get out on the shooter. Again, Georgetown doing a great job in transition. We may talk about the fact that they're not the great rebounding team they used to be, but I am now very convinced that this is an excellent shooting basketball team.
They're number 2 in scoring in the Big East behind Notre Dame. Georgetown scoring 84 points a game and still holding their own defensively. 8th in the conference at 66 points allowed.
Well, they came into the game shooting 47% from the field, including 33% from three-point range. So, that's obviously an improvement over the years as well.
6th in the conference from the field and 10th in three-point range. And they've made it work tonight. 34-21, under 5 to play, first half here at the Rack in Piscataway, New Jersey.
And back in the zone, either a 2-3 or a 1-3-1, depending on where the ball is and where the matchup is.
Rutgers going a little bit small here. Ricky Shields to Mike Sherrod. Can't put it up. He'll shoot a couple at the line and almost wiped out one of his players. Joel Wiggin. Check that. That was Jerome Coleman that he knocked into. Well, with 4:26 to go, down 13, Gary Waters has already burned 3 times out. Look at that. Down to 1-1. Cortland Freeman picked up the foul, his second.
Well, it's one of those situations, the expectations of this Rutgers team, quite honestly, haven't been that high. And Gary Waters recognizes that, he's got to not only use these games as a session where you hope to win, but he also has to use them as teaching sessions as well as he continues to institute that system. So you're going to see games where he's going to have to use the timeout just to teach a lesson.
Kent struggling big time at the line at 2 for 7.
And Georgetown is aware of that, and every time he goes up and looks as though he's going to score, they're going to hammer him.
Absolutely.
And this is what I mean by an instant turnover in a close game situation. He can do as well as he possibly can to get to the rack and put the ball up. But if he gets fouled, you're just giving it back to the other team.
Hall with Riley, Braswell, Samnick, and Sweetney for Georgetown. Coming up on 4 minutes to play first half.
Rutgers playing his own in their own.
Catch inside. Hall with 16 on the shot clock. They've got time. Back to Braswell. Loose ball comes to Hall. That's a 3. Got it. Georgetown really shooting well from three-point range. They extend the lead to 37-21. Quieted the crowd here at the Rack. Building holds a little bit more than 8,500, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty much filled.
But you take a look inside the middle, even though Georgetown is playing a little loose on the perimeter, they have some opportunities, some good matchups down low if they can get it and draw some fouls. But Kent's got to make them if he's the foul.
Coleman known to rebound to Riley. Georgetown 2 for 2 from three-point range. Rutgers 1 for 3. Riley up top goes to Sweet, and the open man is Samnick. Got a free, unmolested look at it, buried it. 39-21, another timeout called by Rutgers.
That's just an excellent job by Mike Sweetney as the hub of that Georgetown offense against the zone.
Yeah, very poised effort by Georgetown, and Gary Waters trying to get any combination right now that will work, that can get a hand in somebody's face.
Well, watch the ball go around the horn and now go inside to Sweetney, and he finds the weak side guy. He catches the zone, collapsed in the middle. And again, that's just excellent ball movement, unselfish play on the part of the Georgetown Hoyas.
Certainly borne out by the shooting numbers. Georgetown 17 of 27, 63% for Craig Esherick. Rutgers 9 of 24, 38%. And Gary's look pretty much says it all. Georgetown on a 13-0 run the last 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
And as we mentioned before, also the free throw shooting, particularly by Rashad Kent, gave them an opportunity to put some points on the board. But unfortunately, he couldn't put them down.
He has had his opportunities. Mike Sherrod being guarded by Braswell. Lamizana, Exani, Kent, and Coleman on the floor for Rutgers.
Georgetown still in a man situation right now.
Sherrod, tough shot, hit it. Mike Sherrod averaging 8.9 points per ball game. He's got 6.
And you can see where Rutgers much more comfortable playing against man than against the zone.
A little bit too much with the body, says Orlando's Poole. A foul on Mike Sherrod. This is Big East basketball here on ESPN2 from the Lewis Brown Athletic Center, better known as the Rack. 23rd ranked Georgetown in town against Rutgers. I'm Dave Sims with Len Elmore. And Georgetown has shot the ball well from the outside. They've worked their offense beautifully and played pretty good defense. And Rashad Kent, while getting his share of field goals, struggling at the foul line, and it's opened a gate for Georgetown. They've jumped right over, right through it. 7 points, 3 assists for Braswell. And today, Craig Esherick can't complain about a sluggish start. Timeout on the floor, 42-23. Hoyas in command here at the Rack. That's Rutgers Athletic Director Bob Mulcahy. He's got his people in place now. New basketball coach in Gary Waters, a new football coach in Greg Schiano. Now it's all about patience and getting some W's. Certainly, Gary Waters brings a good pedigree here to Rutgers.
Well, he certainly does. You take a look at what he's done, particularly the last 3 years at Kent State. You know, he's had that great reputation, and that system has absolutely worked.
Greg Schiano had a tough year in football, but he's a guy that 35 years old, knows the state of New Jersey born in. He's going to be working hard to get Rutgers on the map here in football.
And we talked about it, though, for both of those guys. It's about system. It's about patience.
Kent with another opportunity, and he flushes it down. 41-25.
And seeing a three-point play opportunity, it takes some of the pressure off when he gets to the line. You're going to take a look right here. Just a nice job of finding him as he steps to the front of the rim. But prior to this trip at the line, he's only been 2 for 8 from the free throw line.
Not good. 12 points, 5 of 5 from the field. And 2 of 9. Braswell took a seat. That was his second foul. This man right here, Drew Hall, took his place. Sets up Riley. And the hot hand. Tip, no good. Kent comes down with the board. Rutgers trying to make a run here. Under 2 minutes to play, first half.
Too much handle. Too much handle. You got to move the ball.
And Riley picked up the foul, his second. Right now, let's check in with Bob Stevens.
Dave, on a day of upsets, Boston.
Wow, Bob. And coming up at halftime, the Jackson-Hewitt halftime report. We'll check in on hurricane warning. Undefeated Miami plays at UConn. And then some top teams had some tumbles this afternoon. And UConn conquers Tennessee in women's hoops down in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, you know, you're going to expect that in the Big East and see it throughout.
No doubt about
it. Doesn't matter where you rank. These teams have some history, and they're not impressed with the rankings.
Victor Samnick turns it over with the travel. Pittsburgh hammered St. John's on Wednesday. They would love to get a victory today on the road at BC. That's going to be tough. Harvey Thomas back into the game. He replaces Victor Samnick. Rutgers looking for a little bit of a move here to get some momentum that they can carry into the second half. 41-27 Georgetown.
Georgetown staying in that zone right now. That's what's helped get them to this lead. It's slowed the Rutgers offense, forced them into some turnovers and bad decisions, and they've been able to get out in transition.
Shooting over the top is Lamizana for a three. A 50% shooter coming in. He's 8 out of 15 on the season now. Now it's an 11-point game. Under $1:30 to go. Exani steals. He misses. Tip won't go. Tip won't go again. Sweetney takes over. Stolen. Inside Exani for the jam. And this is what Gary Waters was talking about. Defense.
The system.
And getting the rack moving here. That time Ken just mugged Tony Bethel 40 feet from the basket. That was not exactly in the playbook.
Well, we talked about pressure, transition. Nice job there by Exani. And look at the crash of the board. And just when Georgetown believes they've got it back, Coleman is there to make it happen.
Fouls on Kent, his second.
And that's not a bad situation, obviously, for Rutgers to be in, with Kent having only 2 fouls, hopefully going into the locker room at halftime. But it certainly was a foul he could have avoided. Once again, coming up, instead of trying to steal the ball, stop the ball. You know, let your quick guys out there on the floor jump into passing lanes.
Well, Gary Waters does a smart thing. Gets the big fella out of the game with 66 seconds to go.
Well, absolutely, and that's what you have to do right now. You got to calm them down, because not only does the crowd get revved up, the players as well.
Right.
And sometimes their emotion gets in the way of their focus.
Mike Sherrod, I tell you, Rutgers ever gets it going, this is one of the louder buildings in the country, folks. Jerome Coleman, deep three. No. Rebound comes to Sherrod. Nice look. Exani had it blocked by Sweetney, but a foul.
Sherrod showing a little sleight of hand after that offensive rebound, taking it to the hole.
Foul, number 34, Mike Sweetney.
Take a look here, getting into the paint. Nice no look to Exani.
Showing Exani on the line for Rutgers.
And Exani strong with the ball, going up, drawing the foul.
New Jersey guy that stayed home out of Red Bank, New Jersey. Just 63% on the season. Wesley Wilson comes in. He'll pick up Sweetney. Sweetney leaves with 2 fouls.
You got to remember that Georgetown takes no prisoners on defense, and they don't mind fouling you. So for Rutgers to have a chance of coming back and really getting back into this ball game, they're just going to have to make free throws. There's no 2 ways about it.
1 out of 2 for Exani. Sweetney on the bench right now, getting a blow this last part of the half. 12 points. Pressure here exerted by Rutgers. Don't have the same kind of hands out there with Sweetney on the bench. Lamizana showing a handle. Finds Exani. Lefty with the jumper's good. Sean Exani. And they got it inside 10 with 28 seconds to go. Hall up to Thomas. Goes up, partially blocked. Wilson over Lamizana, and Gary Waters is going nuts on the sideline, looking for a call. Final 12 seconds. 10-point Georgetown lead. Sherrod on the final possession with 5 and a foul as he got by Drew Hall.
Now, Drew Hall, just for the reach out there, was almost a Matador reach, because he was going to get blown by.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, on the other end for Georgetown, Craig Esherick has to be heartened a little bit. Big bucket by Wesley Wilson.
Sure was.
And as I mentioned before at the beginning of this telecast, Wilson has got to be a guy who's got to contribute. Only 4 points and 2 rebounds during the last 3 games that Georgetown has lost. He's a guy that can really do some damage if he's on his game.
6'11", 235-pound junior from Vallejo, California, in the San Francisco area. Maine Central Institute product as well. Mike Sherrod, 7 points, 3 of 6 at the line. And a good trip there.
That's what I mean. You got to make the free throws. Those are easy opportunities that will be given to you if you play aggressively.
Well, Georgetown with Braswell back in the game. Braswell at the buzzer. Georgetown's biggest lead, 19 points. Rutgers has whittled it down to 8, 45-37 as we go to half here. Big East home opener for Rutgers. And let's send you back to the studio and Bob Stevens. 23rd ranked Hoyas with an 8-point lead as we're about to begin the second half here at the rack. Dave Simpson, Len Elmore with you on this Saturday night, Big East basketball. The two leading players, Kent and Sweetney, we talked about them at the beginning. They've delivered big time, although Kent struggling at the free throw line at 2 for 9.
Well, it's certainly been a battle of the big boys inside banging bodies. And when you talk about banging bodies, again, it's all about penetration, finding people, getting the offensive glass. You see Rashad Kent right there. On the other end, here's Sweetney, runs the floor real well. Another offensive rebound, makes his way to the basket. Here, a nice job of just taking the contact and finishing. But Rutgers got back into the ball game with energy and with pressure. Nice job by Sean Exani right there. Rutgers continually crashing the boards, and just when Georgetown thought they had gotten through it, a steal, a stuff, and the crowd gets riled.
That little run by Rutgers came in about the 5-minute mark. Georgetown had an 18-point lead. They knocked it down, and that's where we are right now. Sweetney, and they get him for the offensive foul. So here's a look at the first half stats. Georgetown really shot it well, Lenny, at 60%.
Well, they certainly did, and they also hit the boards very well. But once again, you can't negate that energy closing that first half. A lot of good play, a lot of good pressure by Rutgers created opportunities for them to close the gap.
Dabney with the bucket, and that last possession for Georgetown. Sweetney picked up his third foul. Loose ball on the floor. Who wants it? Rutgers has got it. They don't have too many times that remaining, and they come away with it. Thanks to Mike Sherrod.
Well, you know the instructions were don't call those timeouts on the loose ball situation.
Sweetney gets hammered, lands badly on his hip. Kent gets hammered. Sweetney got a break there. They get Wilson for the foul. And this is not good with Kent. Going to bring out their trainer, Eric Breedenbaugh.
Well, there's the penetration, and once again, finding people. And again, we talk about big boys banging bodies. That's what this game has become.
That's a player they cannot afford to lose. Gary Waters trying to revitalize this program here at Rutgers.
And you take a look at Kent trying to stretch a little bit. It might have banged a nerve as he hit the ground. Once again, taking the contact, comes down hard on that right side.
Well, hopefully this is a momentary thing and he can shake it off. A foul by Wilson was his third. So Lamizana will come off the bench and he'll shoot the free throws. And right now, the most important man in Rutgers Scarlet Knights is the trainer Eric Breedenbaugh and his staff trying to get Kent back together. Lamizana at the line came into tonight's game 67%. He had 3 points in the first half. Rutgers coming into today's game 9-4, 0-1 in conference play. They lost a couple of nights ago at Syracuse. See Cortland Freeman in, and he replaced Mike Sweetney. Georgetown, number 23 this week, 9-4. They lost their conference opener to Miami.
Take a look at Rashad Kent being led into the locker room. Hopefully it'll be a little bit of treatment and we'll have him back out here.
First 40 seconds, Rutgers loses its top player. Bethel in transition nails a deuce.
Much better job by Georgetown to break the pressure and continue to attack, take the first available good shot. But Rutgers, without Rashad Kent, they don't have that stabilizer, as I mentioned in the first half.
Totally different team. Lamizana. Nice job in the lane.
Or maybe they do.
Lamizana. He's got 6 points. Riley. Got room along the baseline. Little runner. Shot it short. Sherrod pushing tempo back the other way. Jumper. Shields. Baseline is good. Ricky Shields. And Rutgers is to within 3.
Little token pressure by Rutgers right there. You can bet they're going to look to step it up, trap in the corners, maintain that energy level. Defense creates energy.
Unlike Sweetney, Wilson's hands aren't that good. He fumbled, and here comes a 4-on-4. Turnover number 13, and they give it away. Georgetown by 3. Almost 2 minutes in, second half. Big East basketball, 23rd ranked Georgetown against Rutgers. I'm Dave Sims with Len Elmore, and the big development here in this half. About 38 seconds in, Rashad Kent, watch him in the paint right here, goes down hard on the foul by Wesley Wilson. Wilson's third foul. They vie for it again. Sweetney back in the game, 3-on-2. Hall all the way, lead for Sweetney, and he gets the roll. Deft touch by the big man.
Also excellent use of the body. You know, I like the way Sweetney runs the floor. He's just not a big body that's going to get rooted down low. He'll beat you from all sides. You take a look here, leading the break. Now watch as he receives. He knows he's going to get contact. He turns his body, makes the contact, and still has basket vision.
Dabney's foul, his second. Braswell shaken up. They are letting them play, and been a lot of body blows tonight. Laurie Michelle is the longtime trainer at Georgetown. But Kevin's got to shake it off. 50-44, Georgetown. Sherrod forced the issue there and drew a foul. Coming up this Monday on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern Time. It's Monday Night Countdown presented by UPS. Mike Tirico and the gang's going to get you ready for the final Monday night game of the season. Then at 9 Eastern, ABC's Monday Night Football. Vikings and Ravens to close out the regular season. Bethel had it blocked.
Lost the handle.
Sure did. Sherrod really bothered him. Made life a little bit difficult on that offensive attack.
Now, you know, Dave, you and I sitting up here at this perch here at the rack. We got a bird's eye view. Actually, I see Rashad Kent. He never went into the dressing room, just went around the corner. It looks like he's jumping up and down. He may be able to shake this one off.
Best news for Rutgers, probably taking a couple painkillers. Shields. We'll skip past the Coleman, from Coleman to Shields. Sherrod, tough shot in the paint. That's the kind of shot he would make in Brooklyn on the playground. In traffic. It's 10 points for Mike Sherrod.
That quickness gets him where he wants to be.
Cortland Freeman being harassed by Lamizana. Hands off to Bethel, who stepped on the sideline. Turnover, Georgetown.
Well, over the years, Georgetown has prided itself by having those guys 6'7", 6'8", with the capability of handling the ball. And that's not a bad job of Cortland Freeman as the cheer goes up for Rashad Kent, his entrance back into the ball game.
Rashad Kent, Sweetney going head-to-head most of this evening. A terrific battle, both guys with 12 points in the first half. Oh, man, talk about stop on a dime. He completes the play, too. Rutgers down 2 now.
You know how he got open. Respect for that speed, too.
Riley ahead of the pack. Sweetney knocked away. Kent's got it. It was Jerome Coleman who knocked it away, and here comes Rutgers with a 3, can take the lead. Could be it. Kent kept it alive, and he knocked it out of bounds.
Well, I was getting ready to batten down the hatches if he made that shot. The roof was coming off.
Oh, they're ready. Gary Waters on record saying he wants to make this one of the toughest places in the country to play. Rutgers They had only one lead, and we've got a foul, and it's against Rutgers.
One thing Rutgers can't allow a call like that to do is to make them timid basketball players. They have to maintain the aggressiveness, and Gary Waters is urging his team to continue to do that. More good things than not are going to happen.
Sorry, Lenny. Sherrod's foul is second. Braswell forced it and then found an open man, Riley, who backs it out. Cortland Freeman, 3-ball, rattled out. Sherrod, and Rutgers again with a chance with a 3 to take the lead. A deuce will tie.
Sherrod's got to play within himself now, not try to do more than he's capable of doing. Possession very important right here. This is a momentum changer.
Coleman. Cross-court Shields. Sherrod for the lead. Won't go. Shields there for the rebound and gave it up to Hall. A breakout. Riley runs it down, bouncing it off his knee. Oh, there's a really bad turnover and an opportunity for the Hoyas. The rack, they're on their feet. The Scarlet Knights down by 18, trailed by a deuce on an 11-5 run. Yes. All right, Bob, thank you very much. Troy Bell, Ryan Sidney. Should be interesting to see what they do coming down the stretch. Ben Hallen's team playing some good basketball at Pittsburgh.
Well, Ben Hallen's got his team playing like a team. You know, he's got people plugged in the right spots. Great three-point shooting opportunities for them. But you can't count out Sidney and Bell, probably two of the three best backcourt duos in the country, in my opinion.
Tuhon and Williams one. Who's the other one?
Oh, Williams and Baker out at Oklahoma State.
That's right. 6 Georgetown turnovers this half have led to 5 Rutgers points. Rutgers looking for its first lead since 6-5. Lamizana lost it and got it back. 12 on the shot clock. Shields inside. Kent off the glass. Score the goal. We're tied at 50.
You want to see some fundamentally sound basketball inside, getting the defender on your hip. Nice job by Kent there. Never really allowed the defender to get around him. And that's very difficult anyway. You probably have to go outside of the building and come through another door to get around Rashad Kent. But excellent job, excellent catch in the crowd.
6 for 6 from the field. Couldn't get the roll. 2 out of 10 at the line. He's got 14.
And the interesting part about it is he's got tremendous rotation, nice release, just can't put it down.
And just that quickly, Georgetown counters with Riley for a 3-ball. Gerald Riley out of Milledgeville, Georgia. He's got 9. Sherrod in traffic, partially blocked. I think Sweetney got a piece of that. Indeed he did. He'll keep it right here.
Once again, Rutgers now has to utilize some patience, recognizing they've got some strength inside. They've got the stabilizer in Rashad Kent. He needs to touch the ball at least once every trip down.
I'm laughing because Craig Esherick was getting his players in quickly, and Wesley Wilson played it like a hockey change. He came running in, and Jimmy Burr said, no. Back to the table for at least a nanosecond. We'll double team here, and that lead pass too far for Kent. Don't forget, he's playing with his hip or a leg problem on the left side, so he couldn't stretch it out.
It's a good idea, just bad execution. But as I mentioned, at this point in time for Rutgers, because of the young players out there and the need for stability, you got to have a guy like Kent touch the ball, make the Georgetown defense adapt.
Freeman, Braswell, Sweetney, Hall, and Riley on the floor for the Hoyas right now. Shields with Lamizana, Kent, Sherrod, and Coleman for Rutgers.
You got to be impressed with Georgetown's patience on this end. First, they find the long 3 to retake the lead. And now on this trip, they come down against the Rutgers defense, spread them out, and hit the high post and work something.
Sherrod's foul, his 3rd. Sean Exani back in. He was the guy that keyed the Rutgers turnaround. But here's Braswell. Dagger in the heart there with a 3 to extend the lead to 6.
Mike Sherrod's got to get a hand up on Kevin Braswell. This is his time.
Braswell with 11 points. He's averaging 15. He's the 2nd leading scorer to Mike Sweetney for Georgetown.
Kevin Braswell with the game down on the line in the second half. That's his time.
Exani rejected. Hall back the other way. Goes right down the lane. Put it up. No good. Kent rebounds.
Just a bad decision by Drew Hall. He's a freshman. He's going to get an earful as soon as he gets back to that bench.
If that had been hockey, it would have been a nice dump into the zone, but it doesn't quite work here in this sport. Sherrod gets a high post pick. Shields fires a three and hit it. Cuts it to 3. Almost 7 minutes in, second half. Braswell beat the press himself. Fires a 3. Feeling it.
It's Braswell time.
Braswell's got 14. Back-to-back threes. 6-point Georgetown lead. Holman outside.
See, once again, I'm surprised you're not going back